Imagine a country with money, land, workers, and blueprints to build the world's tallest skyscraper. But one critical thing is missing: the crane. Just the crane. Without that one tool, the skyscraper stays a dream on paper. Sound familiar? That's exactly China's situation right now. And that crane? It has a name. It's a Dutch company called ASML. Most people have never heard of it, and that's the crazy part. ASML doesn't make chips. It makes the machines that print chip circuits onto silicon. Subtle distinction, but trust me, that difference is everything. Think of it this way. Samsung and TSMC are the world-class builders. ASML is the tower crane company. You can't go vertical without them. ASML makes EUV lithography machines, tools that use 13.5 nanometer wavelength light to etch circuit patterns into silicon with incredible precision. How small is 13.5 nanometers? Smaller than a single virus. We're talking about circuits you couldn't see even with a powerful light microscope. Without these machines, you simply cannot mass-produce the world's most advanced chips, the kind needed for AI, 5G, and next-gen smartphones. Here's the wild part. ASML is the only company on Earth that makes EUV machines. The only one. Not dominant, a complete monopoly. Every TSMC chip inside your iPhone, every NVIDIA GPU training an AI model, they all depend on this single Dutch company's machine. Here's a question I want you to sit with. What happens when someone locks up the only crane in the world? Think about it. That's exactly what happened to China. And China's answer to that locked crane is now reshaping the rules of the entire global chip war. Before we go deeper, let me show you how a chip actually gets made. Because this isn't just China's story, it's everyone's story. Building an advanced semiconductor chip is like constructing a skyscraper. You need architects, engineers, crane operators, material suppliers, and safety inspectors coordinating together. The United States, it draws the blueprints. America controls chip design software, core intellectual property, and the GPU ecosystem powering modern artificial intelligence. Taiwan and South Korea are the master builders. TSMC and Samsung turn designs into actual silicon at a scale and precision nobody else matches. The Netherlands, specifically ASML, provides the tower crane. Ultra-fine circuit layering at the most advanced semiconductor process nodes is only possible because of them. Japan and Germany are the specialty suppliers. Precision glass, high-purity chemicals, photomasks, optical components, and rare materials running through every layer. Can you believe it? The chip in your phone right now took inputs from 6 or 7 different countries to exist. Every single chip does. China enters this picture with enormous demand, a rapidly growing manufacturing base, and hundreds of billions in government investment. A serious player by any measure, but China is still missing critical pieces: leading-edge equipment, advanced design software, and trusted partnerships with the world's top chip foundries. The gaps are real. When the United States decided to weaponize this supply chain, China felt the pressure at every single link, every layer, all at once. So why can't China just buy the ASML machines? They have the money, ASML has the machines. Sounds like a basic transaction, right? Here's the answer. In 2018, something happened behind closed doors. The United States quietly told the Netherlands, do not sell EUV equipment to China. It wasn't a simple diplomatic request. ASML's machines contain American components, giving Washington legal leverage over those exports under existing trade regulations. ASML has confirmed this publicly. EUV systems have never been delivered to any customer in China. Not a single machine. Not one. The American logic goes like this. Advanced chips power AI. AI powers military modernization. So chip-making equipment officially becomes a national security issue. The Bureau of Industry and Security built a whole framework around this. Restrict the tools, restrict the capability, restrict the military edge. Simple and brutal. By 2023, the controls expanded. Not just EUV, the best DUV immersion tools also required export licenses. The Dutch government aligned with Washington. Then 2024 brought another wave. 140 Chinese entities added to the blacklist, new controls on high-bandwidth memory chips, fresh software export restrictions. By 2026, reports pointed to even more controls coming. potentially targeting equipment sales and service to SMIC, Huawei, YMTC, and CXMT directly. Each round tightened the screws. More companies blocked, more components controlled, more pathways closed. The U.S. strategy: keep the gap as wide as possible. And here's where it gets interesting. What is China actually supposed to do here? Just accept that the crane is locked away forever? History says no. And China's answer turned out to be more creative, more expensive, and more surprising than almost anyone predicted. China didn't fold. When the best crane got locked away, Chinese engineers started asking a different question. How do you build without the best crane? Option 1. Push the older cranes harder. China has stockpiled DUV lithography machines and is running them at maximum capacity for advanced chip production. DUV uses 193 nanometer light, much longer wavelength than EUV. Normally that limits your precision. But engineers found a workaround called multi-patterning. Multi-patterning means running a wafer through the DUV machine multiple times, layering exposures to build finer circuit patterns than a single pass allows. Using this technique, China's SMIC produced a 7nm class chip. The Kirin 9000S inside Huawei's Mate 60 Pro launched in 2023. The world noticed. The world was genuinely shocked. A 7nm chip without EUV made in China? That wasn't supposed to be possible. And yet, there it was. But here's the painful catch. Multi-patterning is slow, expensive, and produces lower yields, meaning more chips fail at each stage of production. Analysis suggests yields could drop to just 15% using this approach. You produce 100 chips, only 15 actually work, not a business. ASML's own CEO confirmed it. Chinese chip makers can hit 7nm, maybe 5nm, even 3nm using DUV, but the economics make it unsustainable at scale. Option 2. Build your own crane. China is pouring resources into domestic equipment makers like Nora, AMEC, and SME to develop homegrown lithography tools. Real progress is happening. Nora now ranks 7th globally by semiconductor equipment revenue. But in advanced lithography, China's domestic capability is still effectively zero. So China finds itself at an uncomfortable crossroads. The blocked path leads nowhere fast. The slow path burns money. Something fundamentally different has to happen. May 25, 2026. Shanghai. The IEEE International Symposium on Circuits and Systems, and one woman walks onto the stage who reframes everything. Her name is He Tingbo, president of Huawei's Semiconductor division. The woman her company is calling China's chip queen for a reason. After Huawei was blacklisted in 2019, He Tingbo quietly led a secret backup chip project. The mission: keep Huawei alive without American technology. In 2023, the Mate 60 Pro comeback shocked the world. A 5G phone powered by a domestically made 7nm chip. Washington was furious. Now in 2026, He Tingbo returns with something even bigger. Not just another chip, but a new principle meant to replace the old rules entirely. She calls it the Tau scaling law, named partly in her honor as Her's law. She's positioning it as the successor to Moore's law. Quick refresher. Moore's law says every 2 years you double transistor count by making them smaller. That's been chipmaking's North Star for 50 years. But transistors are now just a few atoms wide. You can't keep shrinking forever. Moore's law is hitting its physical limits, and everyone knows it. Huawei's answer? Stop chasing smaller transistors. Instead, chase faster signal travel. Reduce the time it takes for data to move through the chip. The key unit is Tau. It measures signal propagation delay, the resistance and capacitance that slows data movement inside a chip. Minimize Tau, boost performance. Back to the building. Instead of racing to build more floors, Huawei is redesigning the elevator system. Same height, but signals arrive faster. Shorter hallways, offices grouped by workflow. Fewer elevator stops. The building may look the same outside, but inside it runs completely differently and faster. The specific technology is called LogicFolding. It restructures circuit layouts to shorten critical signal path wiring, directly reducing resistance and capacitive load inside chips. By shortening those paths, signals travel faster. Chips run more efficiently. You can pack more circuits in the same area without needing smaller transistors. Huawei says fall 2026. Kirin chips will be the first ever to use LogicFolding, and by 2031, their chips will match 1.4 nanometers equivalent transistor density. For context, TSMC uses 2 nanometer today and plans 1.4 nanometers by 2028. Huawei targets equivalent density by 2031 through a completely different design path. A different path. Not copying the Crane, not needing it at all. If this works, it changes everything. That's exactly what makes Washington nervous. But let me be straight with you here, because this is where it gets complicated. And you deserve the full picture, not just the exciting parts. Huawei's ideas are genuinely interesting, and analysts have called the approach credible. But there's still a gap between a bold principle and a proven product. Here's a key thing. Transistor density is not the same as performance. High density doesn't automatically mean fast, power efficient, or ready for market production. Reuters noted this directly. When US markets opened after Huawei's announcement, NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel all rose. The market's message: we're not scared yet. There's a timing problem too. LogicFolding arrives in Kirin phone chips by fall 2026. But Ascend AI chips, Huawei's NVIDIA rival, won't see it until 2030. He Tingbo herself acknowledged key hurdles. New design tools are needed, overheating is unsolved, and scaling from smartphones to AI data centers is a massive challenge. Analysts at Counterpoint Research put it plainly. Cost, power consumption, heat, and system integration remain major challenges, especially for cloud AI servers. Post-Moore's law solutions also aren't new. Advanced packaging, chiplets, heterogeneous integration, TSMC, Intel, and Samsung are all already exploring these same paths. So honestly, is this a genuine technical breakthrough or also a political message to Washington that sanctions can't stop China's chip ambitions? The honest answer? Probably both. And understanding that dual nature, but part technology, part geopolitics, is the key to what this announcement actually means. Let me zoom way out now, because this story isn't really about one company or one chip. It's about who gets to write the rules of the future. For most of the 20th century, power came from controlling physical things. Oil fields, shipping lanes, naval bases, nuclear arsenals. Geography was destiny. But that's shifting. Today, the most critical bottleneck isn't always a strait or a pipeline. Sometimes it's a machine that fires laser light at tin droplets. ASML has no army. It controls no territory. But it controls the only machine that makes leading-edge chips possible. That's extraordinary leverage in the technological age. Security researchers have said it plainly. Semiconductor manufacturing equipment controls are among the most powerful levers for sustaining China's dependence on allied technology. This isn't accidental. The US built a system where key choke points are held by allies. ASML in the Netherlands, Zeiss Optics in Germany, Cymer Lasers in California, TSMC in Taiwan, design software locked in US firms, advanced packaging know-how spread across trusted partners. Every node in this network reinforces American leverage. Now China is trying to rewrite the game. Not by copying the tools, but by proposing new architecture where the tools themselves matter less. Reuters framed it well. Huawei's strategy reflects China's broader push to reduce dependence on foreign AI technology and build a self-sufficient semiconductor ecosystem. The real question is whether China can change the game fundamentally enough that controlling the Crane simply stops being the decisive point of competition. So here's where we land today. The US locked the Crane. China couldn't buy it, couldn't copy it, and couldn't outrun the capability gap alone. But Huawei is now asking a fundamentally different question. Not, how do we get the Crane? But, what if the Crane wasn't the only path? Will it work? Honestly, nobody knows yet. The LogicFolding chips launching this fall will be the first real-world test. The 2031 target is ambitious. What we do know, this chip war just got philosophically deeper. It's not just about having better tools, it's about who defines what tools even matter. The most powerful move in any technology competition isn't to outcopy the leader. It's to change the game so the leader's advantage disappears. Today's question, just for you, do you think Huawei can actually rewrite the rules? Or is the Crane just too important to design around? That's a wrap for today. The Crane is locked. The Crane might be bypassed. And the future of computing may depend entirely on who's right.